Thanks for joining us here on the CBN News Channel. I'm Ephraim Graham.
And I'm Heather Sells. Weeks of Washington hype about looming budget cuts may have finally peaked. The president is now softening his tone as Republicans have been pushing back. At stake, $85 billion in cuts set to kick in Friday at midnight unless last-minute action is taken. With just one day left before the so-called sequester cuts, the president took a slightly different tack last night. At a meeting with business leaders, he suggested the impact may not be felt immediately, although he warned the economy will still take a big hit.
It means that you have fewer customers with money in their pockets, ready to buy your goods and services. And the worst part of it is it's entirely unnecessary. It's not what we should be doing.
But the federal government is already doing it in some cases. In Arizona, it has released hundreds of illegal immigrants from prison, saying it will save millions by putting them in a supervised release program. Governor Jan Brewer calls the release the height of absurdity, given that the releases are taking place even before the federal sequestration cuts have even gone into effect. Meanwhile, members of the president's cabinet are still warning of dire consequences if the cuts take effect.
So the only choice I could make would be to hurt fewer poor children and help more special needs kids, or do the opposite. There's a no-win proposition there. There's no good answer.
But the liberal Washington Post caught Arne Duncan making false claims about teachers already being given pink slips in West Virginia. And even independents like New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg say the White House warnings are overkill.
There's a lot of posturing. I'm going to lay off my employees today unless you do something. I'm going to we're going to close the hospitals down. We're going to take all the prisoners from jail and put them on the streets. Spare me. I live in that world. I mean, come on, let's get serious here.
In the meantime, many government workers can do nothing but wait as they wonder whether they will or will not be spared.
We come from good, hardworking people that have earned everything that they've got, but we're all kind of on the line now.
Meanwhile, famed journalist Bob Woodward says President Obama is displaying a kind of madness he hasn't seen in a long time. He's criticizing Obama's decision not to deploy the USS Truman aircraft carrier because of the sequester. On the MSNBC program Morning Joe, Woodward says it's, quote, madness for the commander-in-chief not to protect national security and then blame it on a, quote, piece of paper. Woodward later told CNN's Wolf Blitzer that the White House pushed back against his comment with a warning.
It was said very clearly, you will regret doing this.
Who sent that email to you?
Well, I'm not going to say.
Was it a senior person at the White House?
A very senior person. And just as it makes me very uncomfortable to have the White House telling reporters, you're going to regret doing something that you believe in.
Woodward also said he doesn't believe the president would support a communication strategy of threatening reporters.
One conservative business expert is launching a Twitter campaign to fight back against the White House media blitz on the sequester. Bill Frezza is a fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute. He writes in Forbes.com, the president's sequester plans will backfire. He says if the president tries to make Americans feel pain by cutting essential services, it will actually highlight all the non-essential government programs that could be trimmed. So Frezza has created the hashtag #SequesterThis. He wants people to tweet any government waste or fraud they'd rather see slashed by the sequester. He cites President Obama's $100,000 a year dog trainer and the First Lady's multi-million-dollar vacations. But he says any government program is fair game.
A new report says the government may be spending billions on dangerous nursing homes. The Department of Health and Human Services says Medicare paid $5.1 billion taxpayer dollars for people to stay in nursing facilities, but 1 out of every 3 was placed in a home that failed to follow basic care requirements, resulting in dangerous and neglectful conditions. Investigators estimate the homes failed to address patients' health problems in 1 out of 5 stays.
A group of more than 80 Republicans will file a brief with the Supreme Court in favor of same-sex marriage. The group includes some members of the House of Representatives, 4 former governors, and the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney. The High Court will hear 2 major cases involving same-sex marriage next month. More than 200 businesses are also filing briefs supporting homosexual marriage. The group includes well-known companies like Apple, Disney, Starbucks, and Facebook.
A battle over abortion in Arkansas. It is between the Republican-controlled House and Senate and Democratic Governor Mike Beebe. The governor vetoed a bill Tuesday that would ban most abortions starting in the 20th week of pregnancy. But on Wednesday, the House overrode that veto 53-28. And only hours earlier, a state Senate committee approved a package of even tighter abortion restrictions. 7 states have enacted 20-week abortion restrictions. It's based on the argument that an unborn baby can feel pain as early as 20 weeks into a pregnancy.
Pope Benedict XVI begins his historic retirement today. His final hours as head of the Roman Catholic Church, Benedict met with his cardinals for the last time. He pledged his loyalty to whoever they choose to succeed him. Now the Pope heads to a papal retreat south of Rome. He'll remain there for several months before returning to live at the Vatican in a convent. His retirement formally takes effect this evening.
Syria's 2,000-year-old Christian community is being devastated by the civil war. A Swedish journalist interviewed more than 100 Syrian Christian refugees in Turkey and Lebanon. They say Muslim rebel militia are driving them out because of their faith. One woman said her husband and son were shot in the head just because they were Christians. Syria's 2 million Christian population is the second largest in the Middle East. Today, whole villages disappear when Islamist rebels arrive. Every week, hundreds of Syrian Christians arrive in Lebanon. A Lebanese patriarch says it is, quote, the great exodus taking place in silence.
Recently, CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell spoke with author Layla Gilbert about the persecution of Christians in Syria and the Middle East on his Jerusalem Dateline program.
What's the situation in Syria right now, specifically for Christians?
It's very hard to tell right now. The problem is that the rebels are saying that the Assad government is killing the Christians and vice versa, and nobody really can tell. They're fleeing, and they are very much caught in the crossfire. Churches have been destroyed, and there are terrible reports coming out, but it's hard to sift through them at this time.
You know, Syria is sort of the latest example of what's happening in the Arab Spring. What impact has the Arab Spring had on Christians in the Middle East?
Well, what it's done, it's overthrown strong men like Mubarak and soon probably Assad, who actually kept a tight rein against Islamist terrorism and against Islamist generally abusing groups, minorities. But what's happening now is that in Egypt, the Islamists are now in charge. The government is implicitly involved and perhaps more.
Their churches, you say, are attacked. I think sometimes young women, Christian women, are kidnapped, aren't they?
Oh yeah, there's terrible stuff going on with Christian women, rape and kidnapping and forced marriages. There are villages are invaded and burned because of rumor of someone having an affair, a Muslim man with a Christian woman. Honor is at stake. This just happened a few months ago in Egypt. And it's not just Egypt. It's happening in North Africa as well. And of course, as we've seen, Syria is a mess. Iraq has been devastated by this. Sometimes it's state-sponsored terrorism, as it is, or state-sponsored abuse of Christians, I should say. But it's also mobs and vigilantes that are not suppressed by governments in other places. So.
And you say in your book that this has happened before. This is a phenomenon it's historical, and it's happened several decades ago.
Well, that's true. The slogan, first the Saturday people, then the Sunday people, has to do with the Jews and the Christians. And the saying means that they will remove the Jews from their countries, and then they will remove the Christians. And the Jews are gone. Essentially, 850,000 Jews were kicked out of Arab lands, Muslim lands, between 1948 and 1970. And they're almost, I think they're less than 8,000 now, and all of them put together, except for Iran. But now we have the same phenomenon. We do have a voice that we can use legislatively. We can go to our congressman and say, look, somebody's on death row in Iran. We need to intervene. And sometimes it works.
Great. Layla, thanks for joining us.
The wife of a Christian pastor imprisoned in Iran is speaking out on the 1-month anniversary of his sentencing. Nagma Abedini has written a powerful blog revealing her pain and suffering through the ordeal. Her husband Saeed was sentenced to 8 years in an Iranian prison for his faith. Nagma says that God is in control of the situation and the governments involved. To read her blog post, you can visit our website, cbnnews.com.
The pastor at the center of the Tim Tebow controversy says the media attention is helping him to spread the gospel. Dr. Robert Jeffress is senior pastor at the First Baptist Church of Dallas. He says while he does not like controversy, he does love the opportunity to, quote, share the gospel with as many people as possible, everywhere, from CNN to TMZ. Tebow recently backed out of a speaking engagement at First Baptist after coming under heavy fire from the media. Reporters loudly criticized the pastor for his strong stand against homosexuality and warned Tebow not to attend.
Coming up, remembering the rebirth of Israel, the special occasion that brought Pat Boone to the Holy Land.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill and in this hand is a $20 US gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
Help!
And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
In 1960, the movie Exodus told millions around the world about the birth of the modern Jewish state.
The film contained a powerful score with no words until a young Pat Boone came up with the lyrics. As Chris Mitchell tells us, those words have now have a permanent home in Israel.
Exodus.
Exodus hit the screens in 1960 with a star-studded cast including a young Paul Newman. Its Academy Award-winning score contained no words because no one's lyrics could satisfy the composer, director, and publisher. That is, until Christmas 1961.
And I put the needle on the record, and I hear bum, 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 bum. And the words, "This land is mine," came into my mind, and I thought, that's the story. That's the whole story of Exodus. Wait a minute.
Boone picked up the nearest thing he could find, a Christmas card, and began to write.
The first words are, "This land is mine." And by the time I got those words written, the next words came, "God gave this land to me."
The words of Exodus spread throughout Israel and gave hope to young boys like Shaya ben Yehuda, the son of Holocaust survivors.
We grew up very much in the feeling that during the Holocaust our people were abandoned. But listening to this song and understanding that we are not alone anymore, that was something that was very special for me.
Years later, Ben Yehuda became International Relations Director at Yad Vashem, Israel's renowned Holocaust memorial. He asked Boone for a copy of the words to Exodus. Boone went a step further, giving Yad Vashem the original.
Connecting those words with the story of the survivors who came and built this country despite of what happened to them, and have these words here in Yad Vashem, I think it's something that will give a message to future generations.
For Boone, the moment was profound.
To me, this is one of the 2 or 3 moments in my life I consider the reason that I'm alive. And I think God's purpose for me to be here on the earth.
The Christmas card will become part of Yad Vashem's permanent collection. During the ceremony, organizers played a version of Exodus, sung by Boone years ago at Masada.
This land is mine. God gave this land to me. This land is mine.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Yad Vashem, Jerusalem.
Up next, they're the few and the proud, and finally, they're getting their due. Learn about America's first Black Marines next.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
If you want to become a Marine, you have to make it through training that is grueling and tough. But once you've made it, you're part of the Corps for life.
Now imagine what it must have been like for some of the first African Americans to join the few and the proud. John Jessup brings us the story of the Montford Point Marines.
We was called the Chosen Few, and the group of colored Marines who fought for a right to fight.
June 1st, 1942. At 1 minute after midnight, hundreds line up as the Marines recruit African Americans for the first time. They came from all walks of life: doctors, teachers, musicians, and athletes. Some were even Army officers who took discharges to join the Marine Corps and pave a new path. Their journey began with boot camp at Montford Point, a segregated training facility at Camp Lejeune where things were separate and equal.
By the time I arrived, they had switched from white instructors to black instructors. So they felt that the rougher they were on you, the more you learn how to take care of your life.
Reuben J. McNair, then a young kid from Mississippi, enlisted in 1944.
The Marines were, they said, fighting land, air, sea, water, and I wanted to be one of those people. Plus, I loved the uniform. Those dress blues, I just couldn't wait to put a dress blue on.
He knew it would be a challenge.
We had a gentleman called Judo Jones. He'd go out and he would teach you judo. And you learn to flip people from one side to another.
But he had another goal in mind.
By the time I was 10 or 12 years old, I could take a .22 rifle and strike a match 25 yards away. I was very skillful at shooting. I made one mistake. I kept asking the drill instructor, when are we going to fire the gun? And the drill instructor would look at me and he said, "Lad, it's not a gun. This is a rifle."
After running a few laps around the platoon, holding the rifle over his head, he got it right. And 6 weeks later, McNair finally got to show what he could do.
Goes to the rifle range. And my drill instructor walks over and pat me on the shoulder and he says, "Young Mac," says, "you've been talking about how good you can fire this gun. Today you can call it gun. You can call it baby, sweetheart. Show me your stuff. Can you really do it?" "Yes, sir." We goes out, starts out at the 200-yard line, fires. I told the bulls, I upped all the drill instructors. They was around, peeping, looking. I had the little glasses out, peeping down. I'm just knocking this eye out. Goes back to the 300-yard line. I'm knocking this thing out. When I finished boot camp, I was an expert marksman shooter.
The rigors of training behind him, McNair set off for the South Pacific ready for action, but
they made it very clear that my job, or all African Americans, Marines, our jobs were to get the ammunition up and bring the wounded back.
Discouragement set in.
It was very clear that we wouldn't want it in the Marine Corps.
But African Americans were and are an integral part of the Marine Corps. And as time would tell, they would serve in some of the most important battles, from Korea to the Pacific to Vietnam. McNair led white and black troops, but the excitement didn't last long. After his unit survived a blistering attack, only the white staff sergeant in the group received a Silver Star. McNair got nothing.
There was nothing officially ever put in the record, so nothing we can do about it. And I was telling myself, well, look, just knowing that if you were part of 43 people and you were one of those that left living, it was worth something.
McNair says faith helped to keep away the bitterness.
I grew up in the church, and I've always been a sort of a close person to God, and I just felt that He made me, and He made me strong.
And as the Bible says, all things work together for good to them that love God. Last year, the Montford Point Marines were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, thankful for the honor, but admitting it was a long time coming.
My mother always told me, said, "It's better, son, it's better late than ever."
I didn't think it would ever come because, as you get older, you just think about these things that would never happen.
I'm one of the ones who started the Montford Point Marine Association. We never thought we'd see a black general, much less the ones that we see today.
You have to look forward, look to the Lord, just trust in Him.
And as for McNair, he served 20 years in the Marines.
It was so nice to get out and come home and be with these little guys. I had 3 sons and a lovely wife, and just come home and enjoy. And so it's been a great life.
Paving the way for generations to fight for their country and follow in their footsteps. John Jessup, CBN News.
Great attitude.
Indeed. Seeing days they never thought would come. Quite beautiful.
Yeah, full circle. We'll be right back.
An important message for those who have currently applied or are thinking about applying for a reverse mortgage. You've probably seen commercials with famous actors talking about reverse mortgages, telling you how you can eliminate your monthly mortgage payment, still own your home, and live the life of your dreams. Well, most of that is true, but you need the facts. Call now for our 7 Secrets of Reverse Mortgages. This simple-to-read brochure includes information about possible hidden fees, which program benefits you and not the bank, and how to negotiate better terms. We'll give you facts that are easy to understand. You'll learn about the 5 most misleading claims that some lenders make. For example, that you can't lose your home with a reverse mortgage. The fact is, foreclosure may occur if you live somewhere other than the home for a period of time, or you fail to pay real estate taxes or insurance. You need to call to get the facts. Operators are standing by.
Call 1-888-842-6237 or visit our website now.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new GripGo, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and GripGo grabs your phone ultra fast. Then it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle.
It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of GripGo.
You can get the amazing GripGo with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete GripGo systems for just $14.95.
To order GripGo for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
The U.S. Capitol building has added an important new statue to its collection.
One that helps to better tell America's intricate story. Jennifer Wishon explains.
Rosa Parks is known for what she refused to do, give up her seat on a Montgomery, Alabama bus so a white passenger could sit down. 57 years after her simple gesture helped spark the civil rights movement, she made history again as her image and story was welcomed into the U.S. Capitol's Statuary Hall.
It's the first statue of an African American woman to be placed in this Capitol.
Rosa Parks is an unlikely American heroine.
We celebrate a seamstress, slight in stature, but mighty in courage.
When she wouldn't give up her seat, Parks was arrested. Days later, a new pastor in town by the name of Martin Luther King Jr. stood by her as she challenged the charges. A boycott of city buses began. Montgomery's black citizens walked where they needed to go.
385 days after Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, the boycott ended. Black men and women and children reboarded the buses of Montgomery, newly desegregated, and sat in whatever seat happened to be open.
Parks' sculpture was crafted by California artist Eugene Daub. He chose to have her sitting, but not on a bus seat. Instead, she's rooted to her environment, making it clear she's not to be moved.
This is kind of a superwoman in a way in Clark Kent's clothing. She's this courageous warrior for racial injustice, and yet she sits quietly in mid-century dress and as looking, for all intent purposes, like an average American citizen.
When we make "In God We Trust" not just a motto, but a mission, as Rosa Parks did, any burden can be lifted.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
Always inspiring to hear her story.
Indeed, indeed. Such a quiet woman, but certainly a big stand.
Yeah. That is all for now on the CBN News Channel. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
And take the time to tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. See you tomorrow.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.